Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. So here we are again. We are to be playing, well, the second turn here. So I've not actually seen all the results of the second turn. I've had a quick cursory glance at the second turn. But, yeah. I've not taken a look at the intricacies or the details. So we'll have to see what happens. I think everything should be okay, but we'll have to see. How are you doing there, Bon Volky? How are you doing? Right then, so we can see here. Okay. Okay, so Riga has fallen to Cucumber. Puts off a few forces over here. Right, motorized, rifle, AT, armored. Yeah, they do have some very early T-34s as well then. Okay, so nothing too threatening. Ideally, we'd like to destroy tank divisions equipped with KV-1 so that we could ideally capture some of those. If we actually take a look at the production then, let's take a look. Production captured. What do we have? So I'll take a look at Germany specifically. Right. So we do have some KV-1s. We have about 5 of them so far. We have 3 KV-2s as well. Not huge numbers, not absolutely massive numbers. Numbers will grow quite considerably, obviously, as we destroy these forces that we've actually pocketed. Now, speaking of that, we do have these forces over here that are isolated, which is going to be great. Hello there, Carpathia, how are you doing, my friend? So yes, we have managed to pocket a few forces here. Now, we do have these forces in Litovsk, but I'm only going to leave, what, 2 divisions to actually guard them. I'm just going to starve them out. I've had to accept the fact that we really can't crack the city as such, so I'm fine, I'll let them starve. Question is, what forces do we leave behind? I'll have some forces attached directly to the Army Group Center Command. That'll work fine for me. The rest of them can be moved on. So what I'll do here is we do have a good amount of administration points, which is quite nice. I'll take the 78th and the 17th divisions. So they'll be attached directly to Army Group Center Command. How you guys allocate your air forces in the series? Well, luckily, in the north it's not too difficult considering the fact that the airfields are pretty damn close by, so it's not too bad. Personally, what I'm going to do is actually give my transports as much as I can do to Army Group South to go up at Maxentis. The reasoning being it's a very difficult circumstance down here. Now, what people have to remember that we are playing here on impossible difficulty. So, to be honest, I'm quite happy with Agrippa's progress down here herself. I think things are very difficult. Romanian forces will be active soon enough. I think they activated turn 3. But it looks like he has some good room for maneuver. I mean, he could definitely cut off these forces here in this turn. We do see the Soviet forces falling back, but we could definitely pocket these forces here. So I'm sure Agrippa will be happy about that. A good few rifle divisions and KVD. That's nice to see. Now let's run some reconnaissance here rather quickly. Automatic reconnaissance, okay. So if we assess the situation, see, the Red Army is pulling back to its defensive line. Now, the AI is going to entrench very, very quickly, and it's going to make things difficult for us, to be sure. But then again, you know what, in some ways this is actually going to make things a little bit easier for us in some ways. Now, considering I have this level 2 defensive line over here, level 1, 2, 1, that's not bad. I can actually use that to my advantage. We do need to start preparing for a Soviet counter-offensive in September. Obviously, the offensive will not come in September, it will come during December. But we need to be ready. We need to establish a few fortified lines, ideally, to actually withstand the Soviet onslaught. But yes, we'll take our turn and we'll make the most of it. So these forces should fall relatively easy. But I'm only going to use small amounts of forces to actually deal with them. I don't believe that we should use a great deal. really what can't get by will have to deal with it. We do have our construction battalions over here. I do need to actually dispatch these construction battalions from Army Group Center out into the commands. Now, Army Group Center does have a couple construction battalions, road construction. Okay. Now, how do we want to approach this? If we bring up the drawing tool here. Okay. So, purely from a point of view of the best route of advance, we do have to factor in the rivers. So what I'm going to quickly do here is just draw them on over here, just so they're easily viewable to you guys. Makes things a lot easier, I suppose you could say. Denapa River, that's going to be a pain. Right. So if we take a look over here then. Mogilev is the major city in this area. There's Minsk, Mogilev, Vitebsk, how the heck you pronounce it. As we can see though, the terrain does definitely favour this area here. Well, I mean all of this area here is actually plains, which is really quite nice. So if we take a look. Roughly plains, which is fantastic for our panzers. It's fantastic for the infantry on the offensive as well. We do need to head for Smolensk. Smolensk is going to be the actual main goal for our army to begin with. Vitebsk and Smolensk, but definitely Smolensk. Smolensk will be the jumping off point for us. Once we do take Smolensk, we will then be heading out to help the other army groups. I do favour moving the majority of the panzers remaining to the south to actually aid Agrippa in the south over here. The Soviets, depending on where they've pulled back to, I mean, look at these defensive lines here. Those are impressive, and they'll be very, very handy in the future. Very handy. But yes. Regarding our fuel situation, the panzers aren't looking too great. I think what we'll do here then is have something of an operational respite. We do have a good amount of fuel within Minsk itself, which is fantastic. I won't lie about it. It's going to be very handy. So what we're going to do then is the panzer groups are going to be given an operational rest. They're going to have a HQ build-up, to be honest. There's a headquarters here, just an air corps. Okay. Right. So how we'll approach it then is the units over here closest will obviously deal with them. So I'll assign possibly 2 corps. Definitely not the strongest corps, but 2 corps nonetheless to this task. At the end of the day, these guys become weaker and weaker each turn they are left to rot. So that works for me. The only reason well, to be honest, let's see here. The rail lines that I'm interested in are only this one here. It's an issue that we weren't able to take the city over here, otherwise it would have been able to move straight up. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to move our rail line through here, which is possibly not the worst case. At the end of the day, at least I could have a second rail line to link up here. There's secondary lines as well, which does make it a little bit stronger, which is going to be quite nice. I'd have said the same on this difficulty. I deem it very unlikely they're going to reach Moscow. Yeah, we don't want to reach Moscow. To be fair, if we reach Moscow, we're going to pay for it, and we're going to pay for it very, very hard. I'd say the maximum amount of penetration that we can reasonably achieve, and when I say reasonably, I mean achieve with the ability to potentially carry the campaign on the following year, is probably going to be Smolensk, Bryansk. Ideally, we could take Kursk. If we take... this south is going to be the major point here. Now, we do have the advantage of all the forests over here in the north. We do have some rough terrain, but not too terribly much. However, Agrippa is going to be fighting for his life here in the south, and he's going to need further support. So we are going to have to really fortify the south. The north is going to be much the same. We'll have 2 army groups over here in the north, which is going to be quite good. Obviously, these will be a majority German troops as well as the Finnish troops when they move, which will be quite nice. Now, Lord Cucumber hasn't moved the fins as of yet, which is no issue, to be fair. I don't know if they're actually able to be moved. No, they're not. So that's fine, they're not yet activated. I think you have to reach a certain line for them to activate, which is fine. Huge amounts of forces around Leningrad. Leningrad will not fall this year. They're not going to fall this year. It's just simply not possible on this difficulty. So we need to be very realistic here. Very, very bloody realistic. Okay, so we'll form the division up. And we'll begin the process of dismantling these Soviets over here. Though really this is the only real line I care about. These other forces over here can be left if it's not convenient to destroy them. Okay, to be fair, let's just have you deal with this. Yeah. I'm not going to waste much time here. These headquarters are irrelevant. They don't need to be dealt with. This infantry division could be dealt with. Mechanized Corps, Cavalry Division. Yeah. There's not much game here. Okay, so our forces will begin to move. What I'll do then is I'll move the Panzer forces to the infantry attached to the Panzer Corps. Primarily. Hello there, Lorenzo. How you do, my friend? Now, what I'm interested in here, first and foremost, is capturing equipment. That's the only thing I'm really interested in with capturing these Soviet forces. Right. Not amazing maneuverability here. And that's due to the zone of control. Which is going to slow us down, but that's fine. We'll make our way past it. It's not a great circumstance. We can see here that they are equipped with... they have... Okay, T-26, T-26, T-38, unknown models, armored cars. Yeah, it's the infantry that are really making this difficult. I mean, it's a pathetic tank division, I've got to say. But it's still far in our path. Okay, these forces then will deal with this. I know it's overkill for a division to be handling a security brigade, but that's fine. Yeah, see, this is the issue. What I'll do then is move here. Do we have enough for a planned attack? We don't, but we'll go for a hasty. Scouted, yep. Okay. So perhaps it might have been better off just moving them up here, but that's a lesson learned. Then again, you know what? I think we should just move the infantry on. It really does not matter. We need to move. Yes, the corps need to move. The forces close by can deal with these men. In fairness, I should have you reassigned. Should not have used them. Oh well, these are lessons that we'll learn. Right, split them up. Same over here. There we go, so Brest-Litovsk is surrounded. We'll move up our headquarters over here. There we go, they're all now within supply. Superb. Security division obviously will garrison major cities. In fairness, I could probably do with having them moved up. They will be needed for Minsk. Okay. Will you send some panzers south after taking Smolensk to help encircle Kiev pocket with Agrippa? Yes, that is the plan. I will be sending the majority of my panzers to the south over here. I mean, as I stated, it's really... My endpoint here for 1941 is Smolensk. I do not want to advance on Moscow. It's honestly just inviting failure, in my opinion. I think the maximum extent that we'll probably be able to achieve here is something along these lines, which is manageable, in my opinion. We can manage this. It's going to be difficult as we are facing a very competent, well, AI. I mean, the difficulty is incredible. But yeah, this is going to be the maximum extent for 1941 in my opinion. Any further is going to be inviting disaster. So then, rather, how you do, my friend? Yes, the pocket did hold, sorry. Quite easily as well, which is nice. Okay. What we're doing at the moment is just really figuring out how to deal with it. I really don't want to divert any more forces than absolutely necessary. The only part of it I'm going to focus on clearing is just this area over here, so I can move up the rail line. The FPD group, I should say. It's a shame. I do want to deal with Brest-Litovsk. Litovsk. But it's just too well defended. It's it's not worth the casualties. It's not worth the loss there. Does Smolensk give you any reasonable defensive positions? If we take a look at Smolensk, no, not really. We do have the rivers, but they're not going to matter come winter. The city itself offers a defensive position, but in reality, this terrain just invites death. I'd be better off really defending in the forest, building up fortified positions. There's a few towns over here. I mean, in fairness, I could probably establish a position. Let's see. I'd want a forward position, so potentially. I mean, I do have a number of towns over here. So potentially something like this. It depends, obviously, what our borders will be like. So that could be like the primary defensive line, and then I'd like to have something a bit like this is a secondary. Then a tertiary will obviously be behind here. I do fully intend to try and set up tertiary defensive lines, so interior defensive lines, so defense and depth, really. We can't just have one defensive line, it'll be broken. It will definitely be broken. The issue is we definitely need to rest our troops. We need to have them near the rail lines. We need to obviously take a look at the logistics. We also need to take a look at how we're going to have our men refit. So it looks like we've advanced only a small distance, but this is actually quite a heavy advance compared to what we'll achieve in the future. You can use armoured divisions for urban fighting. You can, but they're not very good at it, and it's really not worth using them. What we're better off doing is using infantry and equipping them with flame panzers, pioneers, assault guns, troops that are really intended for that. Okay. So, I suppose this call will have to do with these forces over here. I'd really rather not. Yeah. In a nutshell, yeah, 4 divisions, that's fine. Just the cavalry here. I mean, this is a waste. It's not something I want to do here. I'd rather just ignore these troops and allow them to just starve to death, in all honesty. I know it sounds really harsh, but that is the reality. I just need the rail line cleared. That's all I need. The issue is the massive movement penalties here. Zone of control is pretty harsh. Might have been better off just going with a full attack there. Okay, so I'm not going to bother moving in more troops other than this against them. I might move these troops depending on their movement. Ideally, what I want to do is completely bypass this. In fairness, the FBD group has... Let's see, you're here. We'll have you move up this way instead. That's going to be the route that's actually going to be usable. I can't take this as of this moment, and I'm not going to bother trying yet. So what we'll do then is we'll advance up this way. Okay, we can achieve only 2 more hexes this turn. Okay, that's fine. All we need to do then is really... Well, these forces will be dealt with in time. We'll have infantry along here anyway, considering the fact we can't move them any further. There's an army, airfield, and mechanized corps. Yeah, just headquarters. Okay, you can't move up beyond this, so we'll have to deal with them, unfortunately. I'd rather not. German panzer divisions had a hefty component of infantry. Well, this is it. They can fight in these urban centres, and I mean a lot of the tactics for German forces in the east was, for example, when attacking a town, you'd have the infantry obviously move into the town, and then you'd have the armoured forces on the outside of the town fight into the towns. But you wouldn't really want to enter into it directly. It negates all your advantages, to be honest. It's like, sure, you're still armoured, but the thing is, it allows enemy infantry to get up close to you. And when an infantryman can get up close to you, it's rather dangerous. It's very bloody dangerous what they can do to you. So it's not worth the risk. I need to keep my AFVs alive as long as possible, and in as great numbers as possible as well. Okay. From the rear. I mean, the terrain here does not help with this. I'm not happy for doing this. It's like, sure, they're cut off, but that means nothing to me. Move a division there, but at least that's got to keep that somewhat garrison, somewhat held. Not really. I'd rather not even have to deal with these forces if I wasn't trying to clear this rail line. Like these forces, I'll only deal with them if I have to. I'd rather leave them just to starve, to be honest. It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of the army group's time dealing with these prisoners. Okay. Yeah. Oh dear. In fairness, in the south it is very difficult. We have got to bear in mind, like in the center here, we did have an entire German army group that was ready to move. We had the most powerful army group, we had a lot of panzers. Their positions were relatively weak. I've got to say, the south is a hard nut to crack, so to be honest, I'm happy with the progress made here. He has the ability, for example, to move this one motorized division over here, cut off all these forces, move his men on, and then get cracking. I'm happy with that progress. At the end of the day, this is a massive challenge, and I think people really do have to remember that. Like, we are at a big disadvantage. The Soviets have a massive advantage here, in terms of just raw numbers. Well, statistics, whatever you want to call it. Game numbers. Oh dear. Okay. Should not have moved that division. I'll have you assigned to this one then. It's not great using administration points willy-nilly either. Right, plant attack. They're held. Do I have the ability to repeat it? I don't. I could go for another haste attack, but I'd rather move another division here. Even if we fail again, at least we can perform 2 haste attacks with, well, a haste... Well, actually, it's only a haste attack now anyway. Yeah, these forces are just, well, dug in. We'll give it one more go. Or not at all. Not at all it is. Okay, that is movement done there. Yes, you've lost quite a bit of your forces here due to the fact that I've assigned 2 divisions directly to your army group center, so I can actually just keep this encircled. And, yeah, we had one of your divisions assigned. What do you plan to do about the American chaos? Wait, wrong game. No, right game. Definitely right game. Oh dear. Right, you've been moved. In fairness, what I could do with this command over here is actually going to be quite nice. We do have all this infantry assigned to Panzer Corps. What I'd rather do is have these Panzer Corps, well, the infantry of the Panzer Corps given to another command, so at least then we could keep them moving, have the armor actually within there. Well, this is it. Can we win? Yeah, good question. Right. I'm not... Well, actually, what I'm going to do here... At the moment, I can do a HQ build-up. Bloody hell, that's expensive. That is hella expensive. Okay, I'm not going to be selfish and use all those resources, because frankly they would be more useful in themselves. What I'm going to do then is just move on to Minsk. We'll hold our position in Minsk. I'll have fuel flown in. But in fairness, I might actually be better off giving the fuel to the south here. It's not a terrible idea. How many transport planes do we actually have? That's the question. That is a question. Right, transport. $117 here. Right, 277 in total. 211 ready, 66 at damage. That's a lot of damaged aircraft. These things are far too viable. We do have some in the National Reserve, thankfully. But that's not a huge amount. Right. So we have 3 squadrons in the command of Luft Flotilla 1, 1 under 2 and 2 under 4. So Luftflot 1 is that... Right, that's actually assigned to Army Group North. That's rather interesting. What I'll have to do then is actually speak with Cucumber and say we probably should assign these planes to the south, to be honest. I'll speak with him over that one. Frankly, the south is going to need these planes, these transport planes, a hell of a lot more than I ever will, or the north ever will. With the north, I mean, we'd be better off just forming a defensive line over here at Narva. I mean, even Narva's quite far out there. Narva might even be too far. The thing is, if we advance too far beyond our rail lines, it's not worth it. It might be decent to hold the position at Narva, but then again, considering the fact that this will be frozen, it's actually worthless. So no, the best we'll do is really hold a line here. Ideally try to consolidate the line as much as possible geographically. But that is the most we'll be able to achieve here, in my opinion. I do have a Lear motorized. Okay. You can move all the way, but I'll see what we can do with you. Right. Now, I'm somewhat happy, I suppose, that Minsk is open. It means I get access to all that fuel, which is great. It means I can actually rest my panzers now. What we'll do then is we'll move the infantry and we'll deal with this then. These forces over here, I suppose, could have added to dealing with the men here. Reluctantly. Very bloody reluctantly. Honestly, would rather not have to do this. So in fairness, I'm actually not going to do it. Just enough men to keep them penned in, and that is all we need. As long as my supply lines aren't threatened, it's immaterial. That'll work fine for me. The rest can keep moving up. I may deal with that division there, however. Okay. Only a hasty attack. And a failed one at that. No more movement. Okay, so if we take a look at the situation on the ground here, we can see the Soviets are starting to obviously build their defensive line. They've actually got quite far into it at the moment. Politisk, right, they're definitely forming a line something along here. Let's see. Yeah, just beyond Smolensk. That's understandable. As far as it goes for this area, there's nothing really worthwhile. I could try to cut off these forces, but honestly that isn't really a great use of my time or assets. I mean, I could use these forces here, but that's not worth it. The infantry can't move fast enough, so trying to cut off these forces is really not worth it. These stragglers will eventually reach the defensive lines anyway. The Soviets are definitely pulling back, which, as far as it goes for what we're going to encircle in the north, we've got what we can at the north in the moment. Everything else we'll have to capture through blood and suffering here. So we need to move up. We'll move up, assume a good, healthy, offensive posture. Beyond that, we are going to have to decide what forces we'll leave behind to start preparing defensive lines. We really do need to work on our actual logistics here. Logistics first and foremost. Beyond that, it's really going to be waiting for the new year. We need to conserve all vehicles possible. We need to make sure we are on rail lines. We absolutely need to live by the rail lines. The rail lines are the entire lifeblood here. Without them, we are buggered. Without them, there's no point. We only have a certain amount of vehicles, and if we lose a certain amount of vehicles, the campaign is over before it's even begun. I mean, right now, it's actually critical times. We cannot lose more vehicles. We'll ideally capture some from the Soviets, but that's not going to be enough to make up for the... well, I imagine the losses. Okay. Yeah, you're overburdened. So what I'll do is I'll leave you behind, this command behind. I'll move the rest of these divisions as far as possible. Okay. I do have you here. Now, you could move up over there, to be fair. Yeah, it's not worth it for one division, is it? You'll hold your position down here. The FBD will be protected. We'll be able to advance our rail lines quite nicely. Right, Vilnius. Does house 718 tons of supply, 13 tons of fuel. We never gained the full amount of fuel or supply within these villages or towns or urban centers in general. But these are definitely worth taking. At the end of the day, they do count as urban centers. I think they do count as light urban. Is it light urban? Just town, okay. It's overburdened because you have division split as regiments. Fair enough. Well, I'm going to be leaving this corps behind anyway, then I'll move on with these forces here. These other headquarters can actually manage additional troops, that's absolutely no issue. Okay. Right, we'll form a position over here then. Around Vilnius, make use of the actual supplies there. I do want to be concentrated in this area, considering that we do have to punch through to some lands. We just need to think big picture here. Ideally move on to the towns as well, try and draw supply from the local area. The headquarters, what I'm going to do, because we're not in a combat situation now, what I'm going to do is actually run them a little bit further away. So this division, so let's see, range to headquarters is 5 hexes, range to rail is 19. What we're going to do is, I'm going to rely on the calls to bring in the obviously the vast majority of the supply here. Now your range to rail is 9, 14 MP to rail. That's fine. What I'd rather do is have the supplies congregate in the actual core headquarters where they can then be passed out. Yeah, at the end of the day, they need to be the ones receiving the supply, as the divisions receive their supply from the core headquarters. If not, they take it from the local area. And in the local area, you do have 34 tons of supply. Over here, there's an additional 64 tons of supply. So each one of these divisions, they all have their own amount of vehicles. Yeah, so you have 375 vehicles, that's fine. Where are the FPDs? I watched Lord Cucumber's video and didn't use one or missed it. He has uploaded his second video, and he has moved them forward, I do believe. Let's see. The number 4 key to show FPDs? Oh no, that's the wrong one. There's a hotkey to actually show FPDs. Where is it now? I'll just go through, find that hotkey. There we go, control 9. Right, there's one. Oh, there's the other. Okay. Okay. That might not be a bad idea, considering that Riga in the following turn should count as part of the supply network. Though I don't believe you can run your rail line from it. It's a situation that should be able to be repaired, but that's not too bad. Hello there, Pleb. How you doing, my friend? Yeah, I think it depends on whether... Now, this will count as part of the supply network in the following turn with the port. I don't know if we can run our rail lines from this. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. If not, I'm sure it's something that Cucumber will be able to rectify. Okay, we do have our FPD over here to make up in the meantime. It's a shame... I don't know. Do I hit it towards Calnus? I think what I'll do is have this FPD group actually run towards Calnus. The reasoning being, at least this is going to help to support Army Group North as well as Centre. We'll run it in this way. Calnus has fallen, thankfully, so that makes good... No point doing that one. It would make the line a bit stronger, but there's no point. I need to move forward. Construction battalions can deal with that in the meantime. You have to repair from the border. Okay. Well, I'll make them aware. I'm sure they'll be able to fix it. It's no big deal. I'm sure it'll be fine. I could move there, but I'm not going to. I'd rather get the rail line moving. And, I mean, this is what the campaign is for. At the end of the day, we do help each other, and we do help each other to learn and improve. Yeah, the port needs to be repaired. That's a good idea. I could set them to actually start repairing. Oh, right, it's not like one of the west, is it? Oh, dear. Might be from the second time when I can repair it. Hello there, Phil. How you doing, my friend? Okay, so we have our FPD groups moving over here. Kaunas will be within the network. I'll then have Kaunas to Vilnius, Vilnius to Minsk. So at least we'll have 2 lines to Minsk from the north-ish and south-ish, and that'll be good. Now, the issue is when I come to advancing on Smolensk, it's going to be where do I want to actually set my lines up. I think what I'd be better off doing is actually advancing possibly up this line here, if we take a look. So Minsk over here. Have this line to Smolensk. But I think maybe Vilnius to... I mean, there's no other major center over here, but I could have that advancing towards Pskov, potentially. It would be nice. I mean, we do have this area covered. I mean, then we could try to fill in the gaps using construction battalions as much as possible. We are definitely going to have to use a lot of our construction battalions. And it's a horse, actually. Nay. Okay. The happy horse. Okay. Canis and Riga will produce something for you after this turn. They will have those materials in them, which will help us out significantly. But as far as it goes for production, they may produce something. It depends what they actually have. I don't know if they have every industry of something really worthwhile. Otherwise, it's rather functionally useless for us in this time frame. Okay, so I guess we'll have to do that. I do need to try and support our group north as well. We can have, what, 25 hexes between headquarters and the rail line, I do believe, so that's fine enough. I'll use 25 hexes between ore and army headquarters. It's going to be a matter of just trying to reduce our logistical lines as much as possible. Okay. We'll continue to congregate our forces over this way then. Ideally keep them within, like, their cores. Okay. Did I see a Soviet hex with more than 100 defense value near Smolensk? Yeah, I mean, this is impossible. It is a very, very hard difficulty. And this is why I really am just planning for Smolensk. It's going to take us a lot to actually punch through here at Smolensk. At the end of the day, they do have a hell of a lot of offensive... well, they do have relatively decent offensive value. They don't have extreme values. They might be very good on the defensive. But at the end of the day, all it takes is for me to break through and then I'll encircle their forces. And hell, you know what, I'm going to use these fortified positions, and I'm going to really enjoy using them against the Soviets. And it was me who pushed for this harder difficulty, and at the end of the day, in my opinion, I think a cakewalk to begin with is going to be far too boring. It's like, we are going to be walking over the Soviets to a degree, but it's not going to be a cakewalk, as you can imagine. We are going to have to fight tooth and nail for this. But come winter, it will be very entertaining. You will see tears shed, you will see tempers flare. Things will get bad. Oh aye, things will get bad. Okay. Yeah. 100. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great fun. Yeah, there's no need moving that far. Yeah, we'll find a way to break through. There's always a way to break through. Absolutely always. Okay, headquarters is over here. I go that keeps them happy. I'll have this headquarters reassigned. Sorry, division reassigned. Right, moving into Vilnius. In fairness, actually, let's move them back. So the headquarters is over here. Sorry, the FPD is over here. In fairness, then, what I'll do is, let's see, how far can I move them? Right. I didn't mean to move his division as well, actually. That was my bad. Yeah, this is why we need to be very realistic in what we're achieving here. We can't pull off anything major. Absolutely no way. I just need to build up my infantry as we push towards Smolensk. We could try to move through this area over here, but that's not really very good. I mean, what I want to avoid here is all the swamps, so frankly, what I'm going to be doing is concentrating on this area. There's only certain areas within Russia that we can actually move. It looks like we have a huge range of movement, but in reality, we really don't. When it comes down to it, all that matters is the land bridge. So that is this corridor. That is all that matters. This is trash. This, trash. Well, beyond this is alright. But trash. All trash. Human trash. Just trash. No. No, no, no. We move through here. This is the only area that matters. Hello there, King of Strategy. How you do, my friend? In the Battle of Brody, near the border city of Lutsk, Germans destroyed almost 3,000 Soviet tanks. This is the biggest tank battle in World War II. That's a lot of tanks. Hell. Yeah, I've heard that about Kursk, and I've heard that it's not actually the largest tank battle in it's one of those things. I'm not going to dispute it. I don't know that much about it. It's like I prefer like the overall thing. I prefer like economics and the politics. I like the high level stuff more than the lower level stuff. Though I'd love to read it. It's just really a matter of just having the time to look into that sort of depth. I suppose I'm more strategic than tactical. Well, that sort of level. It's right. We're not going to touch that. It's not worth it. Okay. Move them here next to Vilnius. Well, Vilnius. I know I'm butchering names. I know. I'm trying to make the best use of my ores. Okay, so I want you to be assigned to the 5th Corps. In fairness, impossible difficulty, it's not, honestly, it's not feasible in the first turn. People really do need to understand that impossible difficulty is very, very hard. I'm happy with the Agrippa's progress. And frankly, if we take a look at the south here, this can be cut off easily. For example, I've shown this a couple times, but we can definitely deal with this. Agrippa only simply needs to move this way, and he'll cut off all these forces. I'll have to... we always have a bit of a conversation afterwards, after the actual episodes. Frankly, what I need to actually try and get Agrippa to do then is just ignore this. These panzers do need fuel, so I think probably have a HQ build up here. But yeah, he needs to move his infantry more than anything. At the end of the day, even if that doesn't happen, that's fine. I can move army group center, we can flank them. Right. Okay. If we take a look at losses inflicted on the Soviet Air Force, it's okay, it's reasonable enough. We did manage to take out about 2,081 on the ground, which is nice enough, I suppose. Right. Okay. We'll do for now. The actual numbers then. Yeah, they still... I mean, the vast majority of these tanks are trash. I mean, obviously they're good trash. The trash that works, but they're not that good. It's like mediocre trash. I've been saying trash too much. I'm getting trashy. You have nothing assigned to you. Well, that's great. That means I can move you up here and we can have those sources reassigned. Oh, good days. Good days indeed to be had. Have you assigned to 5th Corps? Is 5th Corps actually able to handle you? That's the question. 5th Corps can handle you. Right, good. These infantry division... Well, the infantry division can be accommodated. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, that's it, really. The vast majority of the Air Force is obsolete. A lot of the actual... what do you call it? Tanks are obsolete as well, or not very good. Have you ever bothered to bomb cities? Doesn't seem to do much when I did. No, I don't bother. I just think it's a waste of resources. It's just not really effective enough. Okay. Right, 9th Army will be moved over here to the end of the rail line. Which is only granted 1 hex further, but that's fine. They're trash, but that trash works. My mum described it to me. I like it. Okay. See, I'm not going to use these transport planes. I will have the army airfield moved up, however. I do need that reconnaissance. We'll have to move up the Luftwaffe as well. Let's see, to what range can I move you? Right, no. That's about it, then. That's fine. Right, I'm just going to break up the security division for the time being, just cover a bit more ground. We do have the panzers here. The panzers are going to be really just around here by Minsk. I'll use this motorized to actually capture Minsk. At least I'll preserve the fuel of those at the front. Okay, we'll take Minsk. There we go. The 3rd Panzer Group headquarters could really be along this line here. Ideally, want them as close as they can to be the rail lines. Actually, if we take a look, what's the range of the rail here? The range to rail is 1625 NP. What is it like from here? Range to rail 27. 20 hexes to the rail. These guys, for example, let's see what their supply. Range to rail is only 10 and it's 15 MP. Yeah, we'd be far better off having the Panzer Group headquarters, the Panzer headquarters over this area. As close to the rail line as really possible. If anything, if I could keep them here, that might not have been the worst idea. I need them somewhat close. I need to see how close I can actually have them to my headquarters. Actually, I'm not going to move you as of yet. One of these units looks to be assigned... Right, you're attached directly. Okay. Oh, it would be the airfield that's out of range. Okay. So that's fine. What I'll do then is... granted... Well, actually, no. This is fine. This is fine. The Soviets can move their own industry. Cost them administration points, but they can move their own industry. Right. We do have over 1,000 tons of supply. We have over 3,000 tons of fuel within Minsk itself. That's fine. What I'm going to do for the time being then is we're going to have the Panzer Group headquarters moved over here. I want them as close to the fuel, close to the rail lines as possible, within reason. Yes, they're still within range. Supply is 7... What is the supply MP like over here? 23. Let's see. If I bring that down, so if I move over here to Vilnius. Actually move that division off the lines here. Put the 3rd Panzer Group headquarters back on. Right, we're looking at about 23. Obviously that shouldn't affect it. Right, we still have the vehicles for the moment. I really need more vehicles, man. Really need them. Okay, we'll send the airfield back then within range. Lovely jubbly. Right, send these forces over here. At least this will stop the enemy from messing with my supply lines for the time being. Keeps this open as well, which is nice. Okay, keep the army headquarters there. To be honest, is it worth it? Right, Army Panzer Group headquarters do not influence supply of units in any way. That's fine then. What we'll do then is we'll just move the actual Panzer Group headquarters back to the rail line, but I was just thinking about that. Unless those units are directly attached to them. Good point, good point. Right, move you back over here to the actual supply. I was just thinking about that, thinking probably should move them. Right, there we go. The corps have enough supply in this local area anyway. It's not a great situation regarding the rail, but it's something that we'll be able to improve over time. I should be able to actually use some of the infantry marching north to deal with these forces over here, which will be... Do I have any available? That's the question. I do have my cavalry. The cavalry is quite good. That could actually do as nice. Do I? It's a long way to move them. It would use a lot of air supplies, and it's like they do have a lot of supplies at the moment. Sure, it would cut these forces off. These forces can be cut off anyway. I should be able to cut them off with the infantry in the following turn anyway. It'd be nice. It's one of those things where it's like, oh yes, look at this. We're cutting off infantry divisions left, right, center. Oh wow! But in reality, we'd actually house them ourselves. It's not worth it, in my opinion. The Soviets can move industry on turn 3 and onwards, but it costs a lot of rail, so the Soviets have to find a balance between moving forces and industry. Yes, hopefully the Soviets decide to move a lot of industry and not troops. Right, we'll use the cavalry to deal with the forces out here. Are they going to hold? They retreat. Okay, just go for a full attack. Make sure you actually take them. Ow. Pain in my arse. They continue to be a pain in my arse. I'd rather not attack across the river, thank you very much. I do have these divisions. Okay, I'm going to march. Right, I'm just going to expand this a little bit. I do capture the supply of fuel there, which is at least something. Right, we'll move the infantry. Or, no. No. It's not worth it. Move the infantry as far north as possible. There we go, there covers. Nice. There we go. Oh yeah, against a human opponent is completely different. We would like, well, I would like to do a human play by email game, well, a human opponent game in the future. This worked very well for us, as it does allow us to actually have a pretty free schedule. It's a hell of a lot easier to organise about 3 people than it is more, but we'll look at it in the future. I would have liked a large one, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Right, airfield's out of range. Yeah, I've not played as a Soviet either, to be fair. Okay, what we'll do is we'll move our panzer forces and have them basically gather fuel. This town here does have some supply. We do have some supply here as well, that's nice. I do a HQ build-up, but I'm going to save those administration points. Right, we'll move our forces here. A mistake would be pushing all the way past this area. I just can't do it. That's interesting. Would you change any commander, like promote the better ones and kick out some shitheads? We'll take a look at changing commanders in the future. Really, what we need to do now is actually just save these administration points so that we can actually do HQ build-ups of, obviously, the Panzer headquarters, basically get that fuel in there. But then again, is that going to be the most necessary thing to do, actually? Considering the fact that we're not going to be going too far, but we'll see what we can manage. I'll leave the administration points until the later turns, and then at least we have that ability to change on the fly should we need to. Okay, move you back to the rail line. Should be about there somewhere. Bum 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 ba da da dum. And you could be assigned to this other group over here. Oh, is that a 43rd Corps? There we go. Yeah, the thing is we don't want to be just taking territory just to take territory for territory's taken's sake. we need to destroy the Red Army. Or at least reduce it as much as possible. So ideally, I'm going to be seeking a breakthrough over here, just over the Dnieper, which is not great. I'd rather fight anywhere but a river line. But we'll have to do that. Though, frankly, this might even be the better area. And yes, actually, I do kind of favour this area. What does put me off is the fact that we have to cross the river here. Fair enough, that's unavoidable. The trees do make it a little bit more of a pain in the arse. But I suppose it's a lot better to go through the woods than it is to potentially go over a river. Though it depends on where their armies are positioned. There's a lot here. Who gets a second army that should activate soon? Historically, they went to AGC. Well, the second army over here, I think I'll give that to AGS. I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm trying to use as little force as possible and have forces available to rest as well as to aid other army groups as well. So I'm going to just really use bare bones as much as possible. I don't need much. Right, I have another 3 headquarters as well, which is quite nice. You do have a lot of the support, so what I'm going to do here is actually have your support level reduced to 0. Right, now that support should go back into the army headquarters. Right, okay, so we do have 2 core commands that are actually unassigned right now, but that's fine. Yep, you're reduced down, reduce you down as well. What I'm going to actually probably do with these forces here is use them, potentially even have them assigned to other army groups or to other armies, so we can actually spread out the command points in a much more efficient manner. If we take a look over here, so headquarters, command points. In fairness, AGS really needs these. To be honest, these forces, well, you don't need them. You need your forces assigned to other army groups. So to be fair, what we could do then is, for example, well, in terms of what Agrippa could do, is, for example, 11th Army could be assigned to Army Group Antonescu, which is the Romanian headquarters around here somewhere. Army Group South, right, yes. I mean, the Romanians are actually assigned this as well. I'd rather they be assigned to the Romanian High Command. At least then that spreads out the command points. Yeah, Second Army goes to AGS in my opinion. I don't need reinforcement. We have sufficient force to break through. It's just going to be a question of how and where. But we will break through. It will happen. Ideally, I'd like to keep my army available and flexible. I don't want to tie myself into situations that are bad. So what we'll do here is really use a minimum amount of infantry, start to establish some lines here in the south. Well, sorry, to the rear. Right, doing a lot of waffling, aren't I, as per usual? Okay, move the headquarters. I could move them down here, but actually, yeah, we'll do that. You should still have forces over here, like the infantry division. They will actually be very instrumental. Okay. Position our panzers. Fuel is so precious. Okay, 1 headquarters in there as we can manage. Oh, your forces down here to the south, aren't they? Right, we'll have you deployed down here then. Can you move here and still supply your troops? Yes, you can. Okay, that's better then. So what do we have here? 25. Would I have actually been better leaving them here? 27. No. Uh, Not great. Okay, so we moved our forces here as much as we need to. These men will continue to wither on the vine. Rest of the force will fall on the following turn. Well, not even the following turn. It will fall when it falls. I'm not going to rush it. I don't need to. I'm not going to lose the men because I don't need to. Right. Fourth army. Construction, construction, construction. If I have any labour groups, any construction battalions, have them assigned. In fairness, I might even use one of my actual core headquarters to soak up all the labour groups. And then we could potentially do then is just have them over here. Some people are unlucky, some people are Soviet soldiers on the border of June. Then again, unlucky or lucky. I suppose the hardship is over. That is to say if you survived. We do have a nice bit of light flak available. Yeah, plenty of forces here. We'll make use of them. What I'll probably consider doing is actually giving the vast majority of my heavy artillery to Cucumber, potentially. But it really does depend. Kiev very well might become a fortress. But we have our movements here. Frankly, what we'll do then is we'll head towards Mogilev and this area. We'll keep a Panzer Corps, but I think what I'll do is actually dispatch a second Panzer Corps down to the south. That'll be under my direct command. And we'll use that to raid the south, frankly. What I'd like to do is, if the Soviets... I mean, it might actually work out being more advantageous to us if the Soviets actually establish a defensive line here, a defensive position in Kiev, and they were to unhinge it by going behind their backs. The issue is there's so many rail lines over here in the Ukraine, it's hard to actually cut the Soviet forces off like that. But we'll do our damnedest. Okay. I do have this force here. What I'll do is I'll move you via rail. Okay, move you via rail here. Take you off the trains. Right. I'll move you to Vilnius. You will be assigned to this corps here. They'll come in handy. I'll use them to really cut off enemy forces, or to actually try and seize important territory. Right, okay. Are you under the command of Army Group North or South? Right, you're under my command. Okay, these airfields are mine. Have them congregate around this area here. Yeah, that's true. I mean, capture the situation does help me out. Right, are you close enough to the headquarters? You are. That's fine. Okay. I'm not going to advance them too much further, considering the fact of the danger here. I think what I'll do then is we'll use that Flieger Corps to... I mean, we can have them work in conjunction with the forces at the Luftwaffe assigned to Army Group North. I think what I'll do is I'll have my southern... well, my other Luftwaffe... or... I could use them to support the south to a greater degree. Though they would actually be very beneficial here in the centre, so we'll use them as we can. Hello there, Oswind. How you doing, my friend? We do need to push them forward for the reconnaissance, however. Right. Okay. That's great, mate. That's intriguing. Why are you assigned to that? Right, second Flieger Corps. Okay. No, I'm not concerned. These Red Army forces will attempt to make their way over here. Yeah. Good luck to them. There's two divisions here. I mean, there's a division here as well. So that's fine. That'll be enough to actually stop them really moving. Sadly not enough for another hasty attack, but... Okay. The Panzer forces need to stay in this area. I'm not happy with the amount of fuel used. I'd rather have used less fuel. I'll have them set to refit as well if I can. Actually, I'm better off just doing it the actual core. I mean, let's take a look at their order of battles as well. Well, table equipment, I should say. Refit on. Refit on. On and on. Doing this now, so they'll... Ideally, if we've lost any forces, they could be replaced. If I take a look at their table equipment, the actual division has lost 500 odd men. But it's what it's lost that matters. We've only got 87% of our light tanks, 92% of our mediums. We do have an overabundance of close support tanks. But I'm going to call it CS. I'm going to assume it means close support. Yes. It's a nice project. It's going to be very interesting, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah, right, so they're not too terribly bad. I mean, what do we actually have in this division? We'll have one of our divisions, I can't remember which one it was in particular. There's going to be equipped with predominantly French equipment. H3, H4, H4. Right, table equipment H6 99. You actually got a quite large table equipment here. Are you actually technically larger than the other divisions? 13. 13,919. 13,681. 13,331. Okay, that's interesting. So we can see here that we do clearly have a stronger motorized division than the others. Interesting. Seem to have something different. Are you equipped with... You seem to be the only one equipped with a quad... These actual Oswin guns. Right. The not the Oswins, but obviously it's the same armament. So quad flak 38AA. Intriguing. But we do need to have that table equipment made up for now. 8793, 8589. You've taken much more damage out of light here. We've lost quite a few light tanks. Panzer 38s. Most of these are Czechs. That's too many losses. 1. Yeah. Okay, what we'll do then is I'm definitely supporting this move. We'll have our panzers hold here at Minsk for this time. Now, ordinarily, a lot of people would have been like, well, why don't you advance further? Why don't you advance further? If we advance further, we lose all our fuel, and we lose a lot of the actual potential here. We give them time to rest, we gain a lot more. We'll also gain a good look at what the actual strategic pitch is going to be. We'll find a way through this line. We will penetrate it. Jesus Christ, that's 100. Wow. 63 KV2s. Nice. 5 KV1s. Why would you want a KV1 when you can have a KV freaking 2? I'd very much like to capture those. So if I was to hazard a guess as to where we're going to break through... Probably... Probably not here. Probably not here due to these units. We'll find a way through. We might even have to swing by the south, to be honest. Wasn't the Oswin the one with a 22mm mobile wagon with 137mm leveled wing? Quad. That's a good question. Whirlwind. Okay. Cool. Let's see what reinforcements we'll be receiving. So we'll have a couple of divisions arriving. Another corps. Ooh, I want stocks. I like those. Units is important to me. When do we gain further transport? Don't withdraw them. Right. More Junker 52s. That's actually a decent number. So a few turns until we receive them. You could advance with one corps only if you flip some hexes, the infantry will march much faster. True, true. The issue is, though, where do we advance? And I don't think it's worth the fuel. The infantry's going to push here. I'd rather maintain the fuel in the panzers. I'd rather have them this time to actually try and build back up their table of equipment. I mean, I understand the point that you're making. It's a good, valid point, in all honesty. I just would rather have these forces used. I mean, yeah, they're going to march. That's... I mean, obviously it'd help them. It would help them. Yeah, it would be a shame if somebody encircled them. Oh dear. I mean, that'd be rather incredible, actually, commanding a individual division. That'd be rather impressive. Now, Agrippa does have access to further armoured forces now, which is great. At least these forces now unlocked for him. Let's see, have we received reinforcements? We have. So that'd be a question of how to actually divvy these up. That's actually a core equivalent there. The thing is, on turn 2 the panzers are mostly full on fuel anyway. I'm gonna need this fuel. 60% to 80% is not ideal. They can't gain 100% capacity unless it's HQ builder. Okay. It's fine. I'm happy to accept a turn here. Even if it's inefficient, I'd rather than be as close to the actual capacity as possible. We'll move through here. The infantry aren't going to be marching this area, but only going to be marching to check the Soviets in this particular area. But I'm happy with the movement so far. We'll deal with these stragglers, these captured forces in the time being, well, in the future. Yeah, these numbers are irrelevant. Sure, we're capturing a lot of Soviets, but it's not going to matter. But yes, that will be my turn. I'm happy with that. So, thank you so very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have enjoyed this. And if you have, please do like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I don't know, butter, slice of toast, put some jam on that shit. Maybe some peanut butter. I don't know, man. You go crazy. But do all those, like, really cringy things that people have to say at the end of these things. So until next time, thank you. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Have a great day or evening, wherever you are.